Hello everybody. Yeah, and we have a bit of reverb. We have a spontaneous different theme this evening. And you can see a little synthesizer next to me. It's called the Little Fatty. And okay, you see I have reverb because I put reverb on the Little Fatty. It comes into my audio card, you see. Okay, I sound like it's of course RP reverb, which we use here. And I just wanted to show you how far we came with software synthesizers, because what I played is my typical Minimo style lead sound with B.I.T, and I programmed also my typical lead sound in this Little Fatty. And so I played first the B.I.T and then the Fatty. So therefore you hear my reverb because it's on the Little Fatty, because the reverb on B.I.T is also active. So when I go back here and open B.I.T, when I play here on the this MIDI keyboard, B.I.T plays. So yeah, you see how far software that came. And of course it's also this style of programming which is important to get this Moogie sound. It's called the Attic Moogie sound. And so okay, let's shut down the reverb. It's here. Okay. Because my studio is not that big. I mean, it sounds like a big church type of thing here. Okay. So now it's dry, and hopefully you still can hear me. I'm a bit further distant from the microphone, so you now hear the Little Fatty in dry mode, and of course the B.I.T. So let's. So I thought, yeah, why not try this out? And I thought, oh yeah, the guys in the chat room need to hear this. That, yeah, how great current software is. And of course, it doesn't mean that you don't need hardware, because I did purchase this synthesizer for on stage. And for the ones maybe who were on the live stream last week, saw that I was repairing my Minimoog. And of course, the webcam is now not on my face, but on the Moog Little Fatty. So I wave to you guys now, and so the Minimoog is a very old lady, and she's, yeah, I think 40 years old, something like that. So I don't want to have that one on stage. It's a bit too risky, maybe to, maybe at the drops. And so I wanted to have a lead synthesizer on stage once I'm back on stage, which has the same tone. And I checked some different Moogs, and of course it should have memory for saving presets, because you have also now the grandmother and that kind of things. And and then I gave I came to the Little Fatty. That one I checked on few YouTube videos, and that one came to me as really a very good alternative for the Minimoog on stage. It has 3 octaves, it has modulation wheel, and you can save a preset, which is nice. And it's not produced anymore. It's I think It ended somewhere early, I think 2013. And and then you can see if I program a preset that I call it here roaming lead. So it's one of the first preset I created on this one. And then you see the style of programming. You see this also back in B.I.T. This is what I like. This is for me, let's say, a typical minimal lead sound. And for the ones who are joining a bit later, we just playing around and just play B.I.T next to the Moog Little Fatty to show how cool. Also, currently, if you don't have the funds for a Moog, because they cost a little bit more than software, you still can have this sound for a fraction of the price. And in the end, it's about the music you create. So, of course, it's a fun part to have. Also hardware, especially on stage, it can be very handy. So this one is gonna join me and next time when I play live again. So let's play again what I did. So I put on now the reverb again. So I'm back again now in this big room. It's a very big room. And so when I play here on this one, that's the B.I.T. When I play on this one, it's the Little Fatty. And you see it also come in. So here is my audio card. So what I do, you see here comes in the reverb. Because sometimes people maybe think, okay, Robert's fooling us. Is here I come in with the reverb, I can shut it off. And also here comes the Little Fatty. And then I play on this keyboard. You see only this one come in, which is the audio which goes to you, but that one is the B.I.T. Here it's B.I.T. So here you have to prove that I'm not fooling you guys. So now I need to shut down my microphone. Yeah, isn't that cool? So, yeah, this Little Fatty, most likely, maybe some of you who know hardware heard about it. And I found a very cool thing, and I still need to get into it and do some trying things out. It's the case that the, okay, let's put down the reverb again. Oh, where is it? Mixing console. Okay. Oh, it doesn't pop up. Here it is. And then, okay. I'm back from the hall. Of course, both they sound a little bit different. Of course, you need to tweak also the sound, maybe the filter and that kind of thing. I had also another sound, which is a nice bass sound, and you really hear the round bass. Oh, typical Moog bass. So yeah, and if you the Little Fatty, there's an interesting story. This is one of the last okay, let's see that we have a little bit of scream. It's the case that that one is the last one that Robert Moog worked on, this one. And in the layout, if you know maybe a bit of the Mini Moog, this is very similar. It has, of course, less dials, but in the way it's built up, it's very similar. Let's see if you can see what I'm pointing out. So I need to So if you see my hand, so here we have the preset section, then you have the modulation. That's actually very similar how the Minimoog works. You need to use the modulation wheel to add this modulation. It's not the case that you can use a envelopes next to that to the oscillator 2 or so. No, it's the modulation wheel arranges this. So it's mainly a bass and lead synthesizer. So in terms of some of the features, it's a bit more limited, but still it's a um, um, how you say that? Still very focused. Yeah, that's the good word. It has, of course, here the decay sustain, which is combined on the Minimoog. But yeah, so from my hearing, it's very close to the original Minimoog, but it is, of course, a far modern design. It also has velocity and, of course, MIDI and even USB. So on stage, this will be the replacement for my old Minimoog. And, of course, it's the inspiration for instruments like B.I.T. And so could combine things together. So if I go here back, I need to put on again the reverb. So if I play the synth, you could combine. Yeah, so that's the lead sound and a pad sound by B.I.T, combining software and hardware together. So yeah, that's so that I wanted to show you guys. It came in today in my studio. They are only available as a second-hand copy, and so for my live setup, I have an additional Moog now. And the original Minimoog, for the ones, it's I think somewhere in the 70s. And of course, it's behind me. You don't see it currently. I replaced the key bushings because the whole keyboard was clacking a lot. And then you need to replace these little rubber things. I posted this on Facebook. And so the Minimoog, I'm a lucky guy to have one because keep in mind that Minimoog is very expensive, one of the older ones. In the yeah, let's see, what was it? I think in the early 80s when the DX7 came out, everybody wanted to have a DX7 so you could buy a Minimoog for a few bucks or get it even for free. But yeah, of course, now suddenly people did recognize that it sounded different than a DX7, and it's absolutely a cult machine. And if you would have a picture of one synthesizer, so if you would say to a elementary school and you talk to kids of 5, 6, 7 years old, and you would say, okay, a synthesizer, then you would show a Minimoog. That's a synthesizer, you know. That will be the picture of a synthesizer. Okay, so let's see what the chat room has to say. Okay, I see some already popped up. Oh, yeah, Heinrich, Sanguinea Project. I bought a Minimoog 1977. Yeah, it's of course something which is something which is cool on stage. For creating music, you can do so much with software. On stage, I combine software together with hardware. Also because I make electronic music, and when I'm sitting in making electronic music, and you are there only with a laptop and 2 keyboards or 3 keyboards with a computer, I then want to see some old stuff and some synthesizers, some dials. And that's, of course, part of the show to have synthesizers. Okay. Yeah, and of course I had also the Jupiter 8 on stage, and for that one I still see because yeah, the Jupiter 8 is heavy, and it's also an old machine. I'm looking for having a replacement for that one, but still we need to wait when we of course can play again live. That's the other question. So this for the a little fatty to the story and great brand Moog. They make cool stuff. Really check it out and it's but you see with software you can go very far and in the end it's all about music. Um, okay, let's check here the chat room. We have of course a bit of news. Working on. Let me see if I can show that to you guys. You don't see my face, isn't it? So I need to start Outlook and okay. Let me see if I can show you something. Hopefully it works out. Because we changed a little bit also SubBoomBass 2. Everybody I think knows that we're working on SubBoomBass 2 on a free update. Oops. Let's see that you can see it. This is, by the way, the graphic program I always use to make mock-ups. It's a very easy program. And so let's see if we can make it a bit bigger. Oh, that's a bit harder. But you see here in the new version, we will have here the oscillator, a bigger menu. And that's also changing. And of course, for granular, we will have, which appears if you pick a sample and pick granular. I can show you already, of course. No. So we are very far with the graphics are ready now. The only thing we need to do now is the one second. The where is it? The samples which we added, they are ready to go now. So I need to pick again SubBoomBass. So SubBoomBass 2, 1 second. And of course, SubBoomBass, the bass is also inspired on the and last week I did show you already of some of the new samples, and he can make some weird sounds. It's a B.I.T ring. It's one of the new. Okay, this is a bit of a testing sequence. And what is, maybe you recall last week when I talked about, okay, selecting a waveform, that would be a bit uncomfortable. And we found a great solution for it, because now if you see here oscillator 1, you see which samples are playing, and this makes it also easier to select a different one. You can click on the number and then you can simply open and pick one of the samples. But you also can use plus and minus down here. Plus, you see? And it shows which sample is playing. Weird sound. That one goes So that is also improved now. So you see here, it shows oscillator 1, oscillator 2. Same as that. It means that oscillator 2 has the waveform which is selected in the oscillator 2. So it's much workable. It's also the case because you can have different play modes. You can have split A, B, and that kind of things, and then it shows what is playing, and this is what you are editing. And you could also have pattern mode, where it selects a range of sequence A, B, C, D. I think I showed last week also some sequence sounds. Where are we? Oh, I need to go up. Of course, I need to see where a split is done. Haha, that's a good one. Sequence A, okay, let's go simply. I have to look in the play mode. Oh, this one uses pattern. And now you can press edit and you can see it's between toggling A and B, essentially. So weird sounds are possible with the sequencer. Yeah. You see now it's played sequence A, sequence B. It's the pattern. Then it follows. You have 16 patterns in total. So yeah, there are many options. Let's see if I have. It's a bit high tempo. Yeah, but we have, what is mentioned, a range of new samples. Let me play you a few. We had, of course, that one has the wrong sample now. So we had this choir thing, I think it was here. Fox percussion. So a whole range of new samples. Let me see if I show this a bit better. So I go here and here you have the samples. It ended in your current version. It goes until xylophone, and then the new ones is beat, drum, drop, and you see here are the new materials. So I added some more percussion. So, but also weird stuff. Spring drum, big. And then of course you can use that tuned. So yeah, weird sounds are possible with this machine. Some 808, water, tuned tabla, very good. So yeah, many new samples, 127 I believe is the total one. Some weird vocal stuff, and yeah, it's gonna be fun to create new presets with this one. tuned tabla. So we really hear it's tuned. So if I have a beat. Of course, there's a pitch glide inside the original sample. It goes do, but you can combine it. With the other synthesizer part. So yeah, it's will be a very interesting update. The next thing what we are going to do is now doing the preset and checking for the last things, and creating new presets. Let me see. I had last week, but I think no, the sound is gone. Yeah. I'm checking if we had the sound of. This one is using the string model. Very nice bass. So more like a physical model bass. Yeah, and then we have, okay, almost forgot it to say, is that we have, of course, this granular stuff. So when I go here to default, and if I pick then a sample, okay, for instance this one, I can pick granular. Then you can do some weird. Holy maloney. And by the way, what is a very nice feature, if you go to this oscillator label, you can say copy oscillator 1 to 2. Then oscillator 2 has this one, and you could say, okay, make this one more a synth sound. So if you make a very low drone type, then you go here and you make. Okay, it's a bit loud, sorry. And you go here, split. Okay. I go 1 octave. And now the spring drum. And the spring drum goes to filter 2, and here you also can split if you like the effects. So I could use here a chorus, and then FX2 I could make, for instance, a nice reverb. Okay, you hear that? Let's see. Then you have a combination of a virtual analog machine combined with a sample. That's really. You get really weird sounds, and then I could use the grains. Does weird things to the tune. So it depends really on the type of sound you are having. Dirty, isn't it? So there is this granular on this, water sample. Yeah, I'm not sure if this works on these samples too. I need to save this one. It's a bit out of tune, but it's cool. Save preset as. Okay. Water animal. Okay, let's because I'm playing around. So this granular will be a new feature. Our whole range of samples. We have ratcheting in the sequencer, the layout improved. As you can see, this is a bit bigger. It displays what it's playing. Yeah, so it's going to be very cool update. The upper screen is a bit different, more like we do in Go 2. Then we have, of course, the menus, which you maybe know from Blade 2 already. In the upper right corner, we have these three little lines, which is a menu. And then you can select different user sizes. But also turn off program change and that kind of thing. And also check for updates. This you can do yourself. Then it checks on the Papen.com server if there's maybe a new version. So we don't have a system where something pops up and they say, hey, there's a new version. This you need to do yourself. If you think, okay, maybe let's check this, check for updates, and then you can check it. We have that also in Blade 2 now. So we start doing this in every plugin we have. Okay, let's go to the chat room. Pre-based buttons. Yeah, we have an old fan from our old music. And yeah. So in this bank, you see there's it's an old Meteor. So this is a sequence which I will use in the old style music thing. And you see also here it uses patterns, so it only this is dry. And of course in electronic music you use a delay. Yeah, so that's from the song Meteor. So you could check that out. Yeah, so it's a bit different live stream, and I see that Winston also. Yeah, check the start of the live stream. Then I play the little fatty, and I also play it compared to a B.I.T. simply to show how good currently virtual analogs are, that you can really have a very close sound to an original Moog. Yeah, I stream from Echt in Limburg. Yeah, that's correct. And of course, I have a particular feature, which is that I can change my position in space and time and suddenly be in a very big room. So you guys don't know what I did, but well, could be a Star Trek event where Scotty did beam me up to another room, which is far more spacious. And it's even the case that it could be even more spacious. So that's ridiculous space. Okay, but let's get serious. Okay, here we back again. Yeah, we have some cool things. Maybe you have a question. Just let me know in the chat room. And I received a very funny song by Tom again. And Tom was funky again. And I will play this demo. And I had one from Sanguinea, from Heinrich, a very nice demo using B.I.T. And then we could check that out. So give me a second, and I shut my voice, and then first I'm going to play Tom, and if you hear the voice inside of it, it's not me now, but he did that in the track, so it's very funny. It is, of course, very funky. That's what you can expect from Tom. Yeah, thank you, Tom. Very, very, very nice and very uplifting. If you listen to this music, you want to be on the beach, being lazy, and enjoying the sun, you know. And so, and the voice you heard, yeah, that was me. He sampled me. Very funky. That's what you can expect from Tom. There it was. Yeah, Tom is definitely Mr. Funk. And thank you, Tom, and we always enjoy your little pieces of music. Okay, Tom makes some answers, and in the meantime, we have, of course, you know, Sanguinea Project from all the banks. We received some very nice sounds, and hopefully I don't butcher the name again because I really stumble about that name. But I think it's Sanguinea, and he created a track, very nice. Uses mainly Blade 2, and what he wrote. Okay, let me see what he wrote. I have it in my. Oops, sorry guys for this. In my text file. And close some minutes of sound, no big deal, just a few chords. Only Blade 2 and a little help from Punch 2, Master Magic, RPEQ and RP-Verb 2. Blade is very cool for epic cinematic stuff, and so I played a few chords. So that's what Heinrich or Sanguinea wrote me. So let's play it, it's very nice. And even if it's a few chords, it doesn't matter. It's all about the music. So let's see where it is. Epic Blade, that is the one. So I shut my microphone and you can listen. Yeah, isn't that cool? Could be a song below a Netflix series and a yeah, very very filmish. Well done, very nice. Yeah, it's, Winston says even on my phone in mono these sounds are great. Yeah, cool. So he used Blade 2 and a little bit you hear punch drums in the background. So lovely done. Yes, yeah, guys. What should we do next week? Maybe it's an idea. And by the way, if you like to send in something you created by using our software, or maybe sometimes also something else, I have another one which I need to play, but that will be next week. I was a bit too late in catching that one up, and it's from Hadley from England. Also very nice music and. Where he not only used our instruments, also some other ones, but you really should hear it. And but that's something for next week. When is MIDI 2.0 happening? Yeah, that's a good one. Two 1. Yeah, the first MIDI is already around for 37 years. I can recall 1983 it came, and the first synthesizer which has had MIDI that were at that time the Prophet 600, which is behind me, but you don't see it. Maybe yeah, I cannot move this this webcam. Let me see if I maybe if I do a little bit of tricking here, that you can see my Prophet 600. So let's see if we can do something like that. Oh. So the screen is a bit later on. Yeah, there you can see it. And I put a bit, oops, now it goes wrong. Go, let's place it back here. So, and we came from the era that we had only voltage and CV. So what you then did is you picked the keyboard, which was a keyboard, and you had a jack output, and you connected that one to the pitch of an oscillator, and you could play the pitch. And you had a +5 voltage, for instance, for doing the triggering. So node on, node off was essentially a 5+ volt thing, and in the core system it was even different, and you can see the core in the background, I think. Yeah, there are the cores. They used a different type of trigger, so it was not really compatible. You could not use a Yamaha synthesizer on a American synthesizer because they had a different system. And and MIDI, yeah, that was of course you could connect things together in a more simple way, and but yeah, it was or it is still a serial system. It was pretty slow because I can recall when you had the Atari, and you had a lot of synthesizers on one MIDI cable connection, so you could have 16 channels, but if you would have all these 16 channels active, you would hear some latency. So what they did on the early Ataris and the Apple computers, they had external MIDI interfaces which has multiple ports for using extra MIDI output so that you don't have the latency problem. So MIDI is a 8-bit transmission serial, and the whole thing with the new version is that, yeah, they go more up to date, but of course that will take some time before the new hardware will have this. The new hardware synthesizer for software, it doesn't make that much of a difference. Of course, you have a MIDI keyboard, you play your notes, and you can record your parameters. It doesn't have system exclusive. So if you wanted to record, let's say, a parameter in an older synthesizer which has no, most of the time you had to use system exclusive, and that was of course too much data for the MIDI system. And so there were of course controllers, but the amount of free controllers are limited. So and if you recorded system exclusive, yeah, that made the whole MIDI adding even more latency and problems. So okay, so that about MIDI. So yeah, I think it will take some time before it's really getting a new standard. And lucky enough, it's backwards compatible. So that's a really good thing. So I'm looking at the questions here. Yeah, you see my Jupiter 8. On stage, I had it with me, but I rather keep it at home when I'm live because this machine is very heavy. It's 45 kilograms, included the flight case, and of course it's an old machine. I rather keep it at home. Of course, people like it when they see old gear on stage, but yeah, I like to keep it as good as it gets, in good shape, of course. And the Jupiter 8 I originally purchased in 1983. We had some music success, and I could buy it. And yeah, you see, these kind of pad sounds which I created in B.I.T are really inspired on a Jupiter. Yeah, I don't think that it will affect the FX synths. I don't think so. I need to. James Horn is asking this. Maybe it's the. Yeah, well, it's already when I see when if you have this complete keyboard, you already can control the parameters, so it will not influence that much. I think it's more that if you have a hardware synthesizer, that you have more options in controlling it. Rob Studio is a bit of a museum. Yeah, correct, indeed. So the Prophet 600 and the Mini Moog and the Jupiter 8 are, yeah, it's if you can see me on stage a little bit, if you put in YouTube and you search on Rob Papen music, then you can find a little recording about my last gig, which was in 2019. Unlucky, the recording went wrong. Otherwise, it would be longer because I played for 1 hour. It's only the begin, what you can see. And I had on the stage the Jupiter 8, my Mini Moog, the modeler stuff, and of course I combined the hardware together with software. Yeah, it's tonal. That's tonal axis. That's no, we all want CV and gate. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I mean, there was a time that I thought that modular synthesizers without any presets would be lost because I had my frustration when I had a nice preset in my Korg MS-20 that once he had a nice preset, it was gone. You went to the next sound and the original one was gone. So I was totally happy when I purchased the Jupiter 8 that I could store a good preset. And that's also what I did. And of course, now here with this little fatty, I created this lead sound, which I essentially always create also in the in the original Mini Moog. So okay, let's see. And somebody did also ask about Blue 3. Yeah, that will be. I'm not sure if we get it at the end of the year because Blue 3, that will be a heavy project because we wanted to make that people can load in their own samples, and that's a whole different story. So first we will focus on, of course, now SubBoomBass 2 with the free update with all the new cool things. Then we will have a work on 2 new FX and one a update for Predator. And we add in Predator 2 some technology which will be very cool. Okay. I'm checking the chat room. Yeah, of course, and it's of course not everybody loads their own sample. We also sometimes had the question for, let's say, Vecto, which is a great synth, but of course you need to also have good quality samples because if you would go to now let's say to SubBoomBass 2 again. Okay, where is it? No, that's the wrong one. Sorry guys, I need to search. Where is it? Oh, that's a good one. Many tracks open here. I cannot find it. Yeah, must be my age. Ah, here it is. So here these samples, so if I need to go to default preset, they're really picked for being great also if you play them loud. So the artifact, the strange artifact it produces is part of the sound. So if I would go here, I'll go down. So here's a bit of a, okay, you need to. So this will be a dirty vocal sound you could create with this one, but the sound needs to be, okay, now this one. So this one is cool. I would. So now it. You see, it's tuned. No, this one is a bit less. Okay. So this is a spoon, but it's tuned. So let's. Wow, okay. You see the filter was working. And down here it starts to sound dirty, you know, and that's what I'm after. So that's also cool, not as a spoon, but also as a weird sound. And now with granular, yeah, you can go. And the cool is also you still can use the. Oh, that's too low. Sub-oscillator, but I better. So now it's maybe a bit too dirty. Okay, wrong filter type. So yeah, you can make some, of course, this is not a good sound yet. I need to tweak it to get it right. But you use spoon like a weird metallic attack sound for the whole bass. So I could say, okay, let's take here a low pass. And now use really the attack of it. So I use the envelope. Yeah, then you can make some newer types of sounds. Of course, this one. Maybe it should be higher. Yeah, it depends. But it should be useful to create sounds with it. And not every sample which you load in is useful for particular things. I mean, I'm not good today. I think it's tabla. So now you have a tabla as a bass. Yeah, so you get my point. It's not always the case that a sample, if you load in your own sample, that it is useful. So it took me many days to arrange a new range of samples for SubBoomBass 2 from the 127. Maybe I started out maybe with 600 or 700 samples, and in the end, only a part of it get into it. Okay, so let's go back to the chat room because I'm losing here. Yeah, these deepest mode stuff. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Lo-fi. Yeah, it gets if you play. So the tabla, you could maybe that, or sometimes the vowel filter is interesting. And then still you can use the filter split, and oscillator 2 goes to filter 2. This one. velocity. So this is the tabla using the vowel filter. So it's even, yeah, you need to do more. So then simply experiment with. Hey, that is interesting. This is without the filter. It's simple. This is John Evers, by the way. Not John Iris, but John Evers, a drummer. He made some odd noises and it's even tuned. But listen, if you send that one in the vowel filter, that's something. Now I something discovered. It's loud. It sounds normal. It makes as if it's not one sample, but kind of multi-sample and changes the different. That's of course interesting to have these. So yeah, you see, it's gonna be very interesting. Yeah, you see, it's a SubBoomBass is not only used in urban, but also in it's a kind of melody instrument. Yeah, guys, it's an hour flies, isn't it? So if you missed this, maybe because you see this all this gear here in the start of the video, I played B.I.T and showed how I create a lead sound which is Moog style, and then also played on a real Moog, and then you see how good software became in recent years. And it's of course possible because of the CPU power we have these days, and of course we have a brilliant programmer called John Iris, which in combination with my thoughts about software, that we together create some cool stuff. Yeah, it's thank you for watching. So the live stream will be in the playlist, and sometimes it takes a bit longer to appear there. I don't know what is causing it, or that people don't see this video, but you always can watch it back. And so if you have a little song which you like to share, just send it to info@papen.com, and then we could play it. Enjoy creating music, stay safe, and I'll see you next week.